All. So excited to have you all here with us today. My name is Chenny. I am an activator and also the co-founder of a SheEO venture, GotCare. GotCare is a national home healthcare provider with over 25,000 health aides across the country. So for me, SheEO has, I don't even know where to begin to put into words, but I think that the biggest thing throughout the pandemic that SheEO has allowed us to do is to really just courageously step into what it is and who we are, and not try to check anyone else's box, but actually really boldly step into what we are trying to do. So with that, I wanted to pass it over to Lindsay Barr, who will be helping us with our land acknowledgement today. Over to you, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Lindsay, and I'm the founder of World Changing Kids. Oh, and I'm an activator through the Shopify cohort of SheEO. So this has been an amazing year-long experience, so much learning and growth. I'm so grateful for it. World Changing Kids is a social enterprise dedicated to igniting social justice and environmental activism in kids, helping them to become confident, inspired, engaged citizens and leaders, pretty much just creating a community of support around the kids for what they want to do, help them find their gift and how they want to bring it to the world. So I do all different social justice topics with the kids. The children are 8 to 13, mostly, that I work with. And I do a lot of reconciliation work with the kids, bringing in guest speakers. We do letter writing sessions for reconciliation where we write to the Prime Minister about the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Report. And for a long time, I didn't do a land acknowledgement at the beginning of my sessions because it just didn't feel right to me. It felt performative for me, not that it should for other people, but I just didn't feel it. For all the work I did and learning I did, it just didn't feel right. But this past winter break, I held an online camp for kids that was called Teachings on Indigenous Culture, History, and Brilliance. And I brought in two First Nations women from BC, Sam Bainan and Lucy Trimble, who are amazing. And one of the workshops we did, one of the activities was Lucy led us in a land acknowledgement writing exercise. So myself and all the kids wrote our own land acknowledgements. And for Lucy, she said there should be 3 parts to the land acknowledgements that she helps you write. Who you are, whose territory you're on, but the third part is your commitment to reconciliation, the action that you commit to. And for me, I thought, well, that was the missing part. So once I wrote that, now I'm very proud of my land acknowledgement. So I would like to read it with you. I'm going to be a bit repetitive because I already introduced myself a bit, but I'll start at the beginning. My name is Lindsay Barr. I am the founder of World Changing Kids, and my pronouns are she and her. I acknowledge that I live on unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. The peoples of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. My personal commitment as a guest on the territory is to work towards ensuring all Indigenous children have the same opportunities as non-Indigenous children. The same quality of education, the same access to clean water and healthy food, the same access to healthcare, the same level of love and support that every child needs to live their dreams.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was a beautiful acknowledgement. And in the future, if you would like to practice doing a land acknowledgement yourself and like Lindsay said, sharing a commitment to how you would like to contribute towards reconciliation, feel free to pop your name in the chat and someone from the SheEO team will follow up with you. So just to summarize, the objective of our call today is really a chance for you to get to meet the SheEO community and to experience what we call the SheEO magic for guests. Often somehow in these calls, like the person that you need to talk to just happens to be your Breakout. That's what we call the magic. So, and it's really just an opportunity for you to also consider joining our community. These are public calls that occur once a month and are just an opportunity as well for activators to invite guests or other people who are just curious about how SheEO does things or just want to learn more about the community as well. For today, what we're going to do is we're going to hear some intentions and inspiration from SheEO's Community Experience Manager, Nat, and she's waiting there. And then we're going to hear from a US activator, a US venture. We're then going to move into some breakout groups as well. And then we'll come back into the main room for some reflections before we close. Okay. So with that, I think I'm going to pass it over to Arden. I believe you have a video for us.
6 years ago, 500 women stepped in and followed the dream.
This is really a global network of change.
I want to build a legacy. You can't do that alone.
It gave us a vehicle to make the change that we wanted to see.
I found my people, right?
CEO had to be created as a community because all of those other systems failed. And so the honesty around how really hard it is has been refreshing and inspiring.
They are serious when they say that they are interested and invested wholly on the well-being of entrepreneurs who are literally taking care of the world's to-do list.
If you need something for your business, please ask for it. This is your space, this is your time.
It didn't feel like closed doors anymore. It just felt like the more I asked, the more doors that opened.
We had the support we needed to finally believe in ourselves and grow.
I always knew that there was a different way to do business.
CEO has put us on the radar. For the federal government now, we've just received over $500,000.
It's because of that group that I felt safe enough, that I felt strong enough to root down and to stand up and to ask for what I need.
We need your voices because our world is stuttering, and we need your wisdom and knowledge and your feistiness.
At CEO, we often talk about how transforming systems start with transforming ourselves. And I do think that this work, this personal work that's often extremely uncomfortable, is really where we need to start.
And if you need a kick in the butt, dream it, design it, quit screwing around and just do it.
We believe here at CEO that everyone has something to give and contribute, no matter what age or stage you're at.
All of my dreams are coming true that I've been dreaming for a long, long time.
Okay, so that's a little bit about who we are, what we do, and I'm going to share some more. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Nat. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Community Experience Manager here at CEO. I'm going to start today with my own land acknowledgement, talking a bit about the Dish with One Spoon Treaty, which was a treaty between the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee that was also among the first that French and English settlers were welcomed into. The treaty imagines that we as diverse peoples and nations can live together peacefully in the same territory if we respect each other and each other's rights to mutual autonomy. We all eat out of a dish. All of us share the territory from just one spoon, which means that we share a responsibility as well of ensuring that the dish is never empty, including taking care of the land. I start with this today as a reminder of how I hope that we all will treat each other today and every day moving forward. This week has been an incredibly difficult week, hearing about what's happening in Texas, in Buffalo, in Indigenous communities in Canada. We are entering this week, I am entering this week in a dark space. So I'm starting with the intention of sharing, of mutual responsibility, of mutual respect and care. Last week, on the heels of hearing what had happened in Buffalo, we hosted a community care circle. Danielle Cadet, who is our Director of Systems and Emergent Strategy, invited us to journal and reflect on the following 3 prompts. They were: 1, what is true for you right now? 2, what are you grateful for? And 3, what do you wish for? I found this to be quite transformative, and I hope that you all take some time to do the same. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I reflected on. Starting with what is true for me. What's true for me is that we all need community now more than ever. And I see this every day in the CEO ecosystem. For example, in New Zealand, 3 ventures, Kylie from Awa, Becky from Goodbye, and Alicia from Nisa, have been meeting regularly over the last year to support one another as they apply for their B Corp certification. And we're really proud to say that this week, Kylie at Awa got hers. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for a community that rallies together to support one another and remove barriers that stop us from doing our highest and best. This week in Canada, Adila from The Good Tea shared an ask, looking for a cash flow fairy godmother, someone to help her refine her projections, and she had 5 offers of support in for the first 25 minutes. What do I wish for? I wish for all of us to live in a world that gives us the permission to have an imagination, to dream the future, to work together to build it. And I really believe that that's what exists here at CEO. When we talk about our community, we use 2 terms a lot We use activator and venture. You'll have heard already from Chenny and from Lindsay. Chenny, who is an activator and a venture, Lindsay, who is an activator. And so I want to help make sure that we know what those words mean. Activators in our community are radically generous women and non-binary people who contribute $92 a month to activate themselves as change agents. They support this community, they create systems transformation, they gift in their capital, their buying power, their networks and expertise in support of ventures and other activators. There's a wide diversity in the activators that we have. They range from high school students to grandmothers, C-suite executives to early stage entrepreneurs. And they also range in sector, in background, in education and experience. And we value each of those individually and together. Who are our ventures? Ventures are enterprises that have applied to the SheEO ecosystem and been voted on by activators. There are only 3 criteria for them to apply. They need to be at least 51% owned and led by women or non-binary people. They have an annual recurring revenue of $50,000 to $2 million, and that their businesses are committed to making a change in a better world. And we'll share a little bit more about that as well. Each of us who work at SheEO, who've decided to step in as activators, who applied as ventures, are here because we recognize the systems that exist currently don't work. And we've decided to choose ourselves, choose each other, to work together to fix the broken systems and create an ecosystem where women and non-binary people can thrive. If you see yourself as part of this change, if you're inspired or interested, we'd love to welcome you in. Thanks.
Thanks, Nat. So awesome. Really appreciate those reflection prompts as well. And I'm just curious, for those who are joining for the first time, do you want to give us like a little wave so we can welcome you here? Hello. So good to see your faces. Great. Awesome. So great to see you. Yeah. So I hope that helped a little bit around explaining what an activator and a venture is as well. And just to help, really help you understand what that experience is going to be like, we're going to hear from a US activator as well as a US venture. So first up, we're going to hear from activator Courtney Bloggett. Really quickly, Courtney is a passionate entrepreneur who works in sustainable investing, clean energy, microgrids, and energy efficiency. She's currently the founder of Yield Positive, which is a platform for retail investors to learn more about sustainable investing. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Courtney.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I am going to start with a little bit of a story. So my best friend is a CEO of a startup in France. She has heard me rave about SheEO, and she is currently planning her maternity leave, but is struggling because she has a small junior team and she's worried that they won't be able to take on all of her responsibilities when she's out for 3 to 6 months. So sadly, she knows very few senior leaders who have taken significant time off for parental leave. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, Court, do you think you could ask the SheEO community if anyone has been in a similar experience and has guidance of what it's like to take a parental leave when you're leading a company?" So I reached out to the community via our Slack channel and received suggestions for other activators who had been through a similar experience, and I'm now connecting with those activators. So that to me is what SheEO is about, community and support. So I work in the fields of energy and investing, which are both dominated by straight men. And as a queer woman, it's tiring sometimes to be the outlier who is constantly challenging status quo. But at SheEO, I'm not the outlier and I'm always supported. The community actively uses Slack, where there is an ask and give channel, which was mentioned before, where members are constantly doing that. They're asking for help and receiving that help. And they're offering their support for people who might be interested in certain topics where they have expertise. There's also different courses that activators take. And we have a lot of community events like this one and a variety of other ones where we get to meet each other. And finally, feeding my passion for sustainable investing, I and all activators have the opportunity to vet impactful ventures like the ones that have been speaking today. And that's just a really amazing process of watching the videos of all of these different women and non-binary entrepreneurs and hearing their stories about what they're doing for their businesses. And we get a chance to have a say and not just push on, oh, are you going to have 10x growth? It's what is your impact going to be? Do you fit within the SheEO community? Do we have support to give you? So being part of the SheEO community is like walking into a networking event and being greeted by a staff of kind, brilliant people like Arden and Nat, who are here today. The staff asks you what you're looking for from the event. The staff listens to you and then connects you with relevant women and non-binary people. And these people who you go and approach welcome you with a warm smile and ask, how can I help? What can I do? And it's just a really wonderful, welcoming community. And following on that vein, please feel free to reach out to me with any other questions. So in closing, being an activator means that you have the support and guidance from a brilliant community of women and non-binary people from all over the world. Thanks.
Thanks, Courtney. Appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you so much. All right, so next up, we're going to hear from Hafiza Mohammed, who is the founder and CEO of Yumi Healthcare, a 2021 CEO US venture. Yumi Healthcare is a digital pediatric mental health company that is built for the forgotten children on Medicaid. I also just want to add a footnote and say that Hafiza is going to be touching on topics of depression, self-harm, and also mental health challenges. So if you would like to opt out of the section, it's totally okay. Feel free to rejoin in 5 minutes as well. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Hafiza.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a US venture. It's been an incredible experience. And I'll talk a little bit about Yumi Healthcare, how we started, what the mental landscape is in the US currently, and how beneficial CHIO has been to me to be able to help solve the mental health crisis. So as we know, there's no longer a secret about how the mental health crisis is impacting children in the US. How Yumi started, my son back in 2020, in October of 2020, he was 6 at the time, came to me and said, "Mommy, I feel like I want to kill myself." Even though I was an executive for the largest mental health company where we were building and trying to prepare for the crisis at hand, I couldn't get care for my son because he had federally funded insurance. And he's not alone. Almost half of the US population, child population, have the same insurance as my husband, and only 14 providers accept insurance. So as you took a look at the crisis, we noticed that, it was getting worse. I left my company, I started Yumi Healthcare. We've been around for 1 year, but we've made some good impact, but it's still a lot of work left to be done given the scale of the grand scale of the crisis that's happening. And the first CDC report that came out since 2019 was about 2 weeks ago. So it actually doubled. So right now, 44% of the children and the teens in the US have a mental health crisis. Last year, 20% of them had thoughts about suicide and 9% attempted suicide. So all those numbers doubled in every single category. What we're seeing at Yumi Healthcare is the same along those same statistics, but what we've been able to do is to save lives where we help kids who are in crisis and before they get to crisis, and we saved 13 lives last year of those individuals who were actively suicidal. We've helped more than 300 kids in a year, done close to 3,000 sessions, all virtually, and 75% of our population had that federally funded insurance. So it's been an incredible experience to be able to create impact in that way and help, with a partnership with CHIO, allowed me to hire a clinical director so that we are able to scale, further into Maryland as well as additional states, and knowing that the impact that we have is going to be considerable. And what our focus was providing access to all children who need care, no matter, even if they didn't have federally funded insurance, making sure we adopted commercial insurance as well. And it's been eye-opening in regards to how many children are impacted. And this week, I know Nat mentioned earlier, it's been a really sad week for her and for everyone. And for us at Yumi, about 3 months ago, we started running some data about the crisis numbers. And the one thing we hear about a lot is suicide related to mental health, but we don't talk about the homicide aspects that's related to untreated mental health. And when you take a look at the incidents in the last 2 weeks, they're both within the 18-year-old category. The 18-year-olds, they're suffering. They've suffering, if you read between the lines, they have been suffering with a mental health crisis and they never got help for it. So then how do we solve that problem? And something that we've been working on for the last 90 days, not expecting to have 2 major tragedies to happen within that time frame. So I wanted you guys to know, being an activator and helping out. You help companies like mine with resources and expansion so that we can save lives. And as Yumi grow and expand, we will definitely be able to impact more. And our goal now is no longer, it is like, in addition to preventing suicide, is to prevent homicide as well, related to mental health. And, just wanted to put that in perspective. I'm so happy to be here and to share. But I want you guys to know it's really bad out there, and we all need each other. We all have to support. Every one of our children need mental health access in addition to adults as well, because the last 2 years have been traumatic. And, with SheEO and the activators, you guys can all help us, make a difference, not only in our local communities, but nationally and internationally, and save lives, which is, at the end of the day, the reason why we exist.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Hafiza, and thank you for your vulnerability. We have a couple minutes for Q&A. If anyone has any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat or raise your hand. I have a question.
Okay.
Do you have an ask for those here with us today?
Yeah, there's always an ask. So my biggest ask is, for states that we haven't entered, like if we can find ways to partner with local pediatricians in additional states, if you know any of them, because we want to enter states. Right now we work with schools, pediatricians, and hospitals, but primarily pediatricians. And I'm asking if anyone knows any pediatricians in their local area that would allow us to enter additional states quickly, because we'll have a relationship that we can build and support. So that's my ask.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing. And if anyone can help Hafiza with her ask, you can see her LinkedIn information that you can connect with her there, as well as the website to her company as well. All right.
Thank you.
With that, thank you. So thank you. So with that, I want to now just introduce what we're going to be doing next, which is our breakouts. I know you're all super keen to now meet each other. So just really quickly at SheEO, we really believe that a lot of the work that we have yet to do together, that Hafiza has gracefully said earlier today, it really has to be done together, and we have to do it while we're in relationship with each other. And so we're going to gather in these small groups just to get to know each other. We're going to learn from each other and grow together. So in a moment, you're going to see 3 different breakout room options. And we ask that you choose whichever one you feel most excited about. So the first one is SheEO 101, which is just a room where you can, if you're here for the first time, you can ask any questions that you have about the SheEO experience. We also have a venture info room. So if you are curious about the impact that activators have on our ventures, Susie Pan, Director of Ventures, will be in that breakout to help you answer any questions you have, to walk you through our portfolio ventures, anything that you want to ask about in terms of all the world to-do list items that we're all working on. And the last group that we have is our Ask Give group. And this is a really special group because it's going to be a place where you can practice what we call radical generosity, which is core to sort of the SheEO ethos. And you can join this room so that you can get help or help others, help resource others in the community. You can share what's blocking you from your doing best work, what you need help with, or just support others with their asks as well. And if you don't have anything specific that you want to share, that's totally fine. It's also just a great place to meet other people and talk about the work that they're doing. And again, in all of these rooms, if you ever have any question, feel free to ask, and definitely someone will be able to help you out. Arden, is there anything I missed? I'm going to pass it back to you.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to just jump in. Sorry, Arden, to jump
Great.
in. But what will happen now is Arden is going to open the breakout rooms, and you will see them appear on the screen in front of you. What you'll do is you'll select the room you want to join and press the join button. If you haven't seen this option pop up, you should be able to see it down at the bottom of your screen. You should see the breakout room button down at the bottom of your screen. You can click in there and select the room as well. If none of this appears to you, it probably just means you're operating on a slightly older version of Zoom. A-okay, just pop into the chat which room you'd like to be in, and Arden can help move you there. Perfect, we'll see you all back here in about 25 minutes.
All right, awesome. I think we're all back together. Wonderful. I hope you had an enjoyable experience in your breakout. I would love to get a sense for how that went. Could I get, I believe there are some 3-word summaries maybe as well, or if if anyone wants to just maybe pop in a word in the chat that summarized their experience in your breakout. No problem. Yeah. Or if you have, love it, inspiring, great word, Brenda. Or if anyone has something that they want to share, maybe like a magical connection that they made. Amazing. Love it. We have women helping women, learning, I'm excited, connection. Great. Perfect. Awesome. Well, with that, I am going to pass it over to Nat, and we have some closing activities as well. Over to you, Nat.
Thanks, Jenny. I had a wonderful time in the first time, the CEO 101 breakout group, talking a bit more about how does our model work? What are we doing here? What's the goal? And really the summary that I want to share is that what we're trying to do at CEO is create sustainable, lasting change that exists generation over generation, knocking down those barriers that get in the way of all of us doing our highest and best work, and really trying to make sure that we're supporting the women and non-binary folks in our ecosystem. We do that through many ways, and I'm going to share some of the things that you have the opportunity to participate in when you join the ecosystem as an activator. So when you join, you get welcomed in. You'll probably have a welcome call with me or with Janiki, who are on the call. We'll walk you through all of the different systems we use to help share in this way. You will become part of our community and join our learning tracks and our programming opportunities. We currently have tracks running about mindset shift, starting your own venture, changing financial systems, and systemic change. They're really powerful, and I personally am learning a lot as being part of them. As an activator, you also get the opportunity to vote on ventures. Once a year, we select a new venture cohort, and we do this by trusting the intuition of hundreds of women and non-binary people, as opposed to a room full of experts. So if you've ever wanted to help support a business and really help move them forward, this is your opportunity to do it. You can join our venture announcement, shout out to the world who we are supporting this year, and then help us get to action on the world's to-do list. All of this is on your own terms at the pace, capacity, interest that you would like to do, and in the ways that you find most interesting. This is, if you're interested in activating today, Arden has shared a link in the chat. You'll head to this website, pick your region, pick a monthly or annual option, and activate today. We'd love to have you join us. Before we head out, I am going to launch a poll. This is one of my favorite parts of the call, to find out how you'd like to be engaged, stay engaged, find out more information. Did you meet someone on the call today that you want to engage with? Are you interested in getting more involved in one of 3 ways: activating, reactivating, or applying as a venture? And would you like someone to reach out to you? Before we leave, the very last thing I'd like to do is we like to take a group photo and share that on LinkedIn. We'll tag you in it and share to the world that we're excited that you all joined us today. So if you can all, for one moment, take a second, think about how you feel about today's call and show me in a hand motion. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and we'll take a quick photo. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Thank you all. Arden is going to share a feedback form as well. We'd love to know what you thought about today's call. Jenny, back to you.
Yeah. And if you are, just a quick top up to that, if you are interested in being a SHEO venture, I will say that activating is a great way to get started. Before we became a SHEO venture, I activated for a year, and it was just a great way for me to learn a little bit more about SHEO as well. So just a little tidbit there. And yeah, also watch out on LinkedIn. We always post a summary. Look out for it, tag your friends, anyone else that you think should be invited to a future call. And again, as a activator and venture, I really appreciate everyone who's activated. It really supports us to do to work on the world to-do list. And as an activator, it is one of the most transformative individual experiences you can go through. Like, you're just going to go through a complete mindset shift. A lot of the content that CEO provides is around how do you move from a scarcity-based mindset into an abundance-based mindset. And it's really impacted all areas of my life. So with that, just wanted to thank everyone for being here, and for showing up for everyone else on this call as well. I wish you the most wonderful day and see you next time. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.